And here we go. Hey everybody, this is James with Friday Night Live, and our panel for tonight is going to be Student Shaver, which is Stanley,
hello.
our guy who is the owner and the fragrance line owner of Perfumology, and my buddy Freddie Frags, who I am super thrilled to see you back. Thank you for taking the time to come and
appreciate the invite.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
It is my pleasure. So like we were talking about earlier before we went live, tonight is going to be the same format as always. We're going to stay focused on fragrances and our live.
There you go.
Thank you very much. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and get this popped over to Facebook at the same time. So that way we can monitor comments. You gotta love modern technology. You know, 15 years ago, the idea of being able to do this would have been so far out, nobody would have ever been able to think. You'd be like, there's no way you could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the future.
Yeah.
Now, are we able to, sorry, I probably should have asked this before we went live, but are we able to see the comments, the live comments that are coming in, or no?
Yeah, you can. Are you using your phone or your computer?
My computer.
Okay, then open up another tab and look at this through your YouTube.
Okay.
Go to my channel, click on it, and you'll be able to see the comments as they come through.
Okay.
Interesting.
Alrighty. So how is everybody doing tonight? Besides all the craziness that's going on in the world, did everybody have a decent day?
Yeah. Productive.
So I hear you guys up in the Great White North, it was cold and snowy up there today.
It melted as it was coming down.
Yeah, we had a few flakes. Nothing crazy though, but it was coming down a little bit.
That's one thing I don't miss. I lived in Minnesota. I was actually born in Minnesota, and I lived up there, and in South Dakota, North Dakota. I don't miss any of that. And we just lost Mr. Nye. Alrighty. Nye. Alrighty. Hey, Stanley.
Yo.
You want to share the link on my Facebook page?
Yeah, sure thing.
Do that for me. I appreciate it greatly.
Yeah.
There's Nye. He's back. Add him back in.
I cut out. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. We'll send you a bill later. You didn't hear me.
I'll forward it to Verizon.
There you go. Are you using your phone, or are you using a computer?
I'm on the computer. The issue there is with the internet. Actually, for some reason, since everything went down, our internet became a little more fidgety, a little more finicky. So I wish I had a better answer.
I want to share the link. Somebody has got a speaker on.
I'm on my phone right now.
Add him back in. Because I can hear feedback. Okay, we'll send you a bill later.
Freddie, that might be you then.
Is that you, Freddie?
With what?
To Verizon.
You with the speakers.
Are you using your phone?
No, I'm using my laptop.
Are you using a computer?
No, are you on your speakers or are you on a headset?
You got to set it. You got some headsets ready.
I don't have a headset. Should I get a headset?
You probably should.
Otherwise, it's cause a feedback loop.
Down, our internet became a little more fidgety. Wow, that's some late echo there.
Yeah, that's the delay.
YouTube tends to be about 10 to 15 seconds behind, so.
Somebody
Should we be drinking?
I mean, if you want to. That might be you.
All right, we're good.
There you go.
Wow, that's a million times better, buddy.
That's a lot better. Solved all our
Yeah.
issues.
I'm on a headset.
Yeah, you're good. Freddie, that solved it all.
There we outstanding. Yeah, that was a tough one for me to learn how to do as well when I first started using this program. I was like, wait a minute, why do I keep hearing myself? Because I've never been a big fan of wearing earmuffs, except for if I'm shooting. But hey, Freddie, I got a question for you. This is one I usually ask every Friday night. What was the one fragrance that really opened your eyes, that made you decide that fragrance were going to be a big part of your life? Because you're like me, you've got a substantial collection as well. So I've seen it in your background when you used to do videos.
Yeah,
What
I
was
used
that?
to have I used to have a really big collection.
It used to, as in past tense.
Past tense. I mean, I still have a decent.
I hear you. You say you still have and then you stop talking, brother.
Hold on.
No problem.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you fine.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I got
Because I can definitely hear somebody in the background talking. Is that on your end, Freddie?
You could probably hear my wife.
Oh, it's your wife. Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure you're picking up on some corporate secrets up there.
all right. Are we good now? It seems like.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can finish your answer, brother.
All right. So yeah, like I said, I used to have a lot of fragrances. Now I mean, between me and my wife and I, we probably have about 30. Which I guess for normal people, that's a lot, right? But I had almost 200 fragrances at one time. So
Good God.
on my own, not including whatever my wife had. So
okay.
But the one that since I was young, I was always into fragrances. So it wasn't one specific one that triggered me. I just knew that I always liked to smell good, and there was one that I wore for a long time, which was Body Kuros. And that one I wore for years as a young adult, and when I had bought it in bulk and I had bottles, so by the time it was ended, I couldn't find it anywhere. I went searching for it, and that's what made me look into something different, because although in the stores they were discontinued, I could still find it online. I was like, well, eventually it's going to run out, even though they rebottled it and renamed and re-released it. At that time, I didn't know that's what they were going to do. So I was looking for something new, came across the community, and then got into designers, I guess, overwhelming. And within a month, I had 50 fragrances within a month or two. Then I want to say it was like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, after midnight. I typically make a list of my to-dos or my goals for the next year. And one of the small achievable ones was just get into niche, try a new niche. And just that night, somebody posted one of Andy Towers' fragrances, and I just at a good price, and I just jumped on it, bought it, and I've been I still pretty much a niche head ever since. And that was my road to having a difficult time to say no to fragrances.
So, Frey, what was in your journey? I know that you don't run your channel anymore, but what was the point, or where in your life did you decide that, hey, you know what, I think I want to start a fragrance channel?
That was more by popular demand. I was in the community for some time. I was splitting everything that was being released. Basically, I would go to New York 2 times, 3 times a week, and anything that was brought in within a few days, pick it up and post to split. And during that time, a lot of people, I became, I guess, friends with a lot of people in the community, and they would ask me, so what are your thoughts? And as I'm giving them feedback of my first impressions, so many people said you should just start a channel. And then I became cool with a lot of reviewers that were back in the day, and they were like, I think you should do this. I think you should do this. But I think I fell. It was hard because I was splitting. I was reviewing, work, kids. I couldn't commit as deep as many of these reviewers do. So I wasn't as successful as them, and at some point I had to make up my mind what I wanted to do, and just reviewing. I couldn't keep going.
I think that you could have, but that's my perspective.
Yeah,
I have a very
as
different
well.
perspective here. I think
'Cause
that you were
I
doing
know
really, really
that.
well, and
I appreciate that.
yeah. I mean, something that a lot of people don't realize is that it takes money to be a reviewer. It takes
Yes.
a lot, and if you don't have money, you need basically a ton of numbers behind you, which is a different form of currency.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I get requests from people all the time for stuff, and the truth is that it takes more time than you expect. Certainly, as somebody watching, it takes significantly more money than people expect. This is this is this is a hobby in and of itself,
Yeah.
and I think you were killing it.
Well, I appreciate that, but like you said, it takes money.
Yeah.
When I walked away was partly because of that. My youngest daughter she was getting older and she needed more. She was getting more into activities and stuff. One of my older daughters, college, so structure how my finances were going. I couldn't just pour them in. It was hard to keep up with everything that was new that was coming out. And also wearing just to review wasn't fun anymore. I wanted to wear what I like, but in order to keep up with the reviews, I couldn't do both. And keep constant with the material popping out. I was doing about 3 videos a week for a couple of months before I stopped. And between the sacrifice that took to do that, like you said, you need big numbers as part of, and I wasn't increasing my numbers. I wasn't doing, so it was something that I had to, make the decision and just walk away. It was hard, and at times I get the itch, but once I start to do the research to maybe put out a video or two, I just lose the energy to do it.
Yeah, because like you were saying, now to do this, to be a reviewer, most people don't understand. It's a grind. You really have to enjoy doing this. I know that Freddie, me and you talked about why you stepped away back when you stepped away, because I watched your channel for a long, long time. You and Gary both were a fan of both your guys' channels. But your average person has no idea what's really entailed in running a channel. How much time, effort, money, just the whole thing is, you don't know it until you try to do it, and then you get smacked in the face that you don't end up with a million subscribers right off the bat. It is a slow grind, and you have to keep working at it no matter what.
And it keeps slapping.
Yeah. And you can't make everybody happy. I mean, not everybody likes the same thing. Not everybody enjoys the same type of content. Jeremy Fragrance is a great example. I don't watch his content anymore, but I wish him the very best. But I think as we consume content that we enjoy, we kind of progress just like our noses progress.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
What about you, Stanley? You're fresh into this craziness. What was the one thing that really made you decide that fragrances were something that was really held something for you? And what was the point where you decided you wanted to start your channel?
So I Well, I'm just gonna go right back to when I got my first fragrance.
Yeah.
It was actually Aero, New York City. It was from the Aeropostale shop that used to be at one of the malls up here. Um, my parents got it for me.
Whoa. Oh, there he is.
Oh, we'll try that
Yeah.
again. Say it again.
All right. So yeah, it started out with Aero, New York City. This one.
Uh-huh.
I got it, tried it on, wore it a couple times. I'm like, it's actually quite good. And then that was to my uninitiated nose at the time. And then a couple of friends and I went to Sephora, which I got to smell a lot of different fragrances there. So I really started developing my nose, and then I ended up getting a little travel sprayer of Mont Blanc Explorer there. It was a little steep for the pocket, but it was what it was. I didn't know about discounters at that time. So there was that. And then my next purchase after that was actually my first blind buy and my first niche at the time. Is this little guy.
Nice.
So this is Perfume de
Yes, that
Marley
is one
Herrick.
of my favorites right there.
It's such a nice boozy vanilla. Just beautiful. And then I met Rush, which is, if anyone knows him, he's actually
Yep.
on the other side of A Gentleman's Journey. So I met up with him. We went to Nordstrom's, and then Holt Renfrew. So Holt's, and then we. That was where I really started developing my nose for Killian's, for Creed's, for all your other like truly niche houses where I really got to dive into the niche world, if you will.
And then for you, Nair, I know you don't have a channel, or do you have a channel? You should have a
Technically, I
channel.
do. Technically, I do. I just uploaded a couple things recently. It's Perfumology. Go figure. Um, and it's I have trouble being in front of a camera. I have probably about 25 or 30 videos on my phone. It's right here,
Yeah.
and I can't get myself to put them up. I could do that, and it's because I'll watch it, and they're only 2 or 3 minutes. I like short videos, certainly for myself, but I'll watch it and I'll be like, I say this one word over and over again, and I'll just judge it. So I have a lot of respect for you guys, and that's a different obstacle a lot of people come across, and this one's mine. Is that I judge myself real hard when I take pictures for Instagram, just to maybe actually I probably shouldn't, but because there's like a whole bunch of pictures, but there's just for bat, right? You see all those, so there's 10 different photos. Those are the ones that I didn't post. I posted one of those 5.
Gotcha.
5, 6, 5. So that's just because I'm a perfectionist, and so I have a channel, Perfumology, and you will see it active because I'm not at the store. I really miss being at the store. That's why all these testers are here. I try not to go outside and do my work from home. So it's it's part of my new routine, and that's why I have actually all these videos, different fragrances that need to be posted. They'll be going up soon.
I'm looking
Um,
forward to that.
Yeah, same here.
Thank you guys.
What was the one fragrance? I don't mean to interrupt you, Nair, but what
No,
was the
please.
one fragrance that really,
Did it?
blew your socks off?
Well, I want to give you a one, like there's one fragrance, but there isn't. I remember being like 13 and getting a fragrance called Concerto. That was the first perfume fragrance I ever got, eau de toilette. That was because we were traveling. That's from Fragonard. My mom is obsessed with perfume. For those of you who don't know, I own the store with my mom. Together, we are obsessed. And then while we were at this first shop that we owned together or ran together, I brought home Versace Man.
I like
And
that a
Versace
lot.
Man was one of the first ones where I was like, I was working in a perfume shop, and that was one that was like, you need to smell more. And slowly and surely that turned into an exploration of fragrances. I discovered Luca Turin and Tanya Sanchez real quick, and Fragrantica and Base Notes. All that happened really fast. And then next thing I know, within less than a few months, I was picking up a lot of indie brands. Freddie, you mentioned going to Min. Chad at Min was the first person to ever sit down with me and talk to me about niche and name brands. And it was eye opening, and it's great when like different people want to have this conversation. And now more than ever, we're seeing people talk about it openly. So it took, I'd started at 13 years old, 12 years old, and now we're here. Always
Time
obsessed
flies.
with well, slow down now it's a little too slow, but
Yes.
Yeah. What about you? What was is there one that really got you?
Yeah, I want to say the one that really blew my socks off is this one right here, and this is
Well, you froze, so that's Baccarat Rouge 540.
everybody laughs at me when I say this, but to me, this, if I had to describe this, the way this smells or the sensation I get from this fragrance is crushed diamonds. If crushed diamonds had a smell, they would smell like this. And this is one that I really like because you can wear it, or your girl. It's it's right down the middle. It's a unisex fragrance.
That's my wife's signature scent.
Yeah, I like smelling this on myself, and I like smelling this on a female as well. But the first time I smelled this, it just completely blew me away.
Yeah, it's
if I had the
intoxicating.
money, I would shower in this. That's how much I like this. I love this stuff.
We were talking about it before we came on the stream, but I've only smelled BR540 on paper. I haven't smelled it on even my own skin. I couldn't bring myself to actually get a decant of it.
You should at least go to the department store and spray it on your hand or your wrist or something.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth a try. I didn't like it at first, and after I gave it a full wearing, it blew me away. And it was unique at the time. It's not as unique anymore.
Yeah.
But it's a great fragrance that lasts a long time.
Yeah, even though this is really linear in my opinion, it doesn't change a whole lot. But what you get in the opening, to me, is so wonderful. I'm happy it's the same way all the way through. And then this is done by my favorite perfumer, which is, Francis Machin Kershaw, which has made stuff like the original Le Mans for Jean-Paul Gaultier, and then his catalog of fragrances is just outstanding. I don't think I've smelled too much, or if anything, that this guy has made that I haven't enjoyed.
Yeah. I don't love all of them, but he is one of my favorites, and it's one of my favorite lines as well.
Yeah, because I've seen on your channel, Freddie, you guys reviewed quite a few of them. Well, I'm poor.
Gary,
this is the only one I have.
That was one of the loves that Gary and I both agreed on. We respected each other's opinion, but didn't always agree.
Yes.
But with MFK, we always agreed for the most part.
Fair enough.
I should have reached out to Gary to see if he would be willing to do this. Like I said, dude, I miss watching your channel and Gary's. Both.
I appreciate it. I just actually spoke to him a couple of days ago. He's doing well.
That's good.
With everything that's going on, everybody's holding up. We keep in touch with each other as much as we can.
And then for me, my second one that I'd talk about tonight is I'm a huge fan of the Christian Dior line. This is the only one in the line that I have that doesn't contain the note of iris. I'm a huge iris fan. I'm a huge iris fan in the way that Christian Dior does iris. It's smooth, it's buttery, it's really enveloping, it's inviting. To me, it doesn't come across feminine. I hear a lot of guys say, well, you know what? I can't say that. I've heard people say that they've heard guys say that it's too feminine. To me, it doesn't come across feminine. But this is an outstanding hot weather fragrance.
Yeah. Is that the Intense or just the original?
No, they only have, this is the cologne.
Oh, okay. So sorry.
And this basically smells like an iced lemonade, which is super refreshing in the hot weather. which is going to be on all of our doorsteps before you know it. Even you guys are going to be sweating. As
Too
you can
hot
see
already.
right where I'm at, it's beautiful today. So
Yeah.
this was my scent of the day. I really like this, but I absolutely love the iris that is in the rest of the line. With the exception of the last one they just came out when they butchered the Dior Homme 2020. And to me, I don't think that they butchered it. I think they missed an opportunity. They should have brought that fragrance out as its own entity.
Yeah.
Instead of just trouncing all over guys like me who really have an affectionate spot in their heart for that whole line.
Spot on. Yeah. They could have kept that money going. But here we are, right?
I haven't
I haven't tried any of the new ones.
Yeah,
go ahead, Freddie.
I said I haven't tried any of the new ones out yet. The 2020 versions.
Yeah, the 2020 Dior Homme is nothing like the original. Now, I haven't smelled the new Dior Homme Intense 2020. I understand it's the same fragrance because if you check the actual batch codes, it pops up as being last year's. So they haven't reformulated it. It's just in a new packaging. But Dior Homme, the original, has just been gutted in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't smelled Dior Homme or the new formulation, so I can't really say anything about that personally, but I really want to get my nose under it.
If stores were open, it would be pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Explain it is, I said, it's super rich, it's buttery smooth. It doesn't come across, feminine in my opinion whatsoever, because in that the way they built that fragrance, the leather really comes through. There's so many other notes that complement it so well that it's not like sticking your head in your mom's, lipstick bag.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anything heavy-handed will go too far, and then anything light touch will give it a good accent, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I usually ask everybody, I wear a fragrance to bed every night, and I'm kind of a creature of habit. So if I'm going to walk into my studio where you guys have seen where I film most of my content, I will go in there and I love to wear Dior Homme Intense to bed because it's relaxing. It really, it's warm. I enjoy a sweet fragrance. It's got a certain sweetness to it. It checks all the boxes off for me.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie, do you wear a fragrance to bed at night? And if you do, what is it?
I do. Not every night, but some nights. Actually, the one I've been wearing recently is Lolita Lempica Au Masculin. That's an oldie that piqued my attention again recently, and I've been wearing it. It's a soothing scent for me.
Yeah, that is a really good one.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
I haven't had a chance to smell it, but I'm familiar with the line.
It's really good.
It's really good. It's black licorice, but without it being too harsh. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, depending if you like licorice or not. I'm not a big fan of black licorice, but when I wear this, I truly enjoy it.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's one that taught me that I'm okay with black licorice, because black licorice at first was I couldn't stand it growing up, the smell. So now it's okay, and it's because of Lolita Lempica Au Masculin.
Yeah, when it comes to black licorice, it's gonna sound funny, but if you guys ever went fishing and got the rubber worms, the worms smell just like black licorice. It's the note of anise. Am I saying that right?
Anise.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Bring back Freddie Frags. Look at that.
Look at that. Appreciate it.
What about you, Stanley? Same question to you, brother.
Pure lavender, Ferrari.
Huh.
That's one of my go-tos. Another one would be the Stars of the 10. This is the Declue pour le. I cannot French right now.
Okay.
But it's the new. That's one of the new ones. I can't remember which line it came from, but yep. So it's just the one with the blue juice in it.
And Nir, do you wear a fragrance to bed at night?
Honestly, not that often. I used to. Part of the reason is that um, I spend a lot of time, and I'm basically still wearing about anywhere from like 3 to 20 different perfumes after a shower. Like even like through it, I still smell pretty strong. If I do, I tend to wear warm things like some of you guys. I think that those all kind of had warm notes to it. So I try to wear something warm like a City on Fire or Latessa's that's an example of a very huge iris, and that's
Yeah,
very
that's an
comforting.
iris butter that's in that, isn't it? Because I
Yeah,
remember you sent me a sample of it, a carded sample, and I was super excited. I was like, man, it's got that's not the same thing.
No, that smelled like your grandmother's lipstick, and
Yeah.
I like that because like it's very comforting, and it's a good way to take a nap. It puts you
Yeah.
to sleep.
How does your
Or
wife,
something with like milk or cream.
how does your wife enjoy a City on Fire at bed?
So that's why I don't really wear a whole lot of perfumes to bed, because it'll wake her up and like suddenly I find myself not in bed. It's a way because like what I like, I have a totally different taste than she does. So around her, I tend to wear a lot more of like typical cologne, citrus, aquatic, citrus woods, something like Renaissance from Xerjoff, or in the wintertime, she really loves Side Effect, which is a tobacco and vanilla smell. So so like I seasonalize because I have so many that I need a reason to cut them down. But really, I pay really close attention to what she likes, and then around her, those are just what I wear. If she's asleep, or if she's not around, then I'm going to wear what I want, which is a lot.
Yeah, well, that kind of makes sense. If you've got a significant other and you're in that personal space, you kind of have to take into consideration what they enjoy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, but I come home wearing the perfumery, so like there's a certain part where it's like this is what I do and who I am.
Fair enough.
So
perfect excuse.
I got another question that I like to ask everybody when I do this is when it's time for some personal time between the sheets with you and your significant other, what is the one fragrance that you like to wear when you have that in mind?
Wow.
I'm gonna take a pass and say I don't have a significant other, so I'm gonna take a pass.
Gotcha. Freddie, do you have? Because I know I have one that when I want to come across being super sexy, or makes me feel attractive, makes me feel sexy. So when you feel like that, you kind of give that air off to your spouse as well.
I do have fragrances that I prefer on date nights and stuff like that. But like Nir said, it also goes back to what your significant other likes. And my wife likes the citrus fresh fragrances. So in order for me to attract her, I would have to wear one of those, right? But typically I would say like date nights, I typically would wear Killian's Black Phantom. I would wear Killian's Royal Leather. I I have this one here, Mula Mula by Byron Parfums.
Yes.
And if it's a day date, I mean, another one that I like is the A.M. Bob Cap d'Antibes. I love this
I've always
fragrance.
been interested in checking that out. I've never had the opportunity to smell it.
So with this one, it's a funny thing. There's no aquatic notes, right? And I can't stand aquatic fragrances. But this one I love, and it's green, woody, and leathery, and the notes combined, it gives me an aquatic vibe. But this is one that I enjoy and I love. I don't know if anybody else that tries it gets the same aquatic vibe, but I do. But there's no aquatic notes in it, so I can't explain it. But that to me, that's an all year round fragrance. I think is very attractive. Something that you could wear date nights or even in a regular social environment, or a daily fragrance as well. Very versatile.
Nair, do you have
Well, I agree with Cap. I really love it, but that's not one that I wear around my wife just because I really do listen to what she says closely, and so uh, you know, a couple of things happen. Like all of Initio is in our shop because of the smile that Lissa gave me when side effect when I wore side effect one night. So the answer there is one of them is side effect. Another one is like basically I made Laima to be good for and on everybody around me. So that's a really good one. Is that we made that fragrance with the intention of getting compliments, combined with me needing this indie interesting vibe. I wanted to make it fascinating. Um, she also likes Renaissance and Neo and a lot of aquatics, a lot of citrus aquatics. Those are the ones that I've noticed she likes a lot. Um, Ormond Jane, she likes on me. If I put it on, she's not going to like it in the open. She likes it after about half an hour and then onward. So, and anything eccentric molecule, but essentially, especially eccentric O1. Not the molecule. We both like molecule, but eccentric O1 is really, really amazing on both of us. So it's a long list because there's more than that. I have enough to try, but there's a lot more than that, but those are the ones that I really
I wanna agree
to.
with Neil on that side effect.
Yep.
Side effect is very sexual fragrance.
Yeah,
That's one that I
brand.
overlooked in my mind before he mentioned it, but I never got negative feedback wearing that one. And I've even gotten from both genders, guys and girls, stating to me how sexual that fragrance is. Like it makes me want to eat you or stuff like that. That's what that type of fragrance is.
So it's definitely not a fragrance. Sorry, a fragrance for the office is what I'm getting at right now.
Well, I would
you
wear
can
it
wear
anywhere, but
yeah,
but wear with caution.
yeah. I wouldn't. Initio is really loud. So like, if you wear 2 sprays and you work in a cubicle, like wear 1.
Fair
or
enough.
2 if your skin eats it up, or 3 if it eats it up. But that's not like a 20 sprayer go to work in the office.
Yeah, the only one from that line that I've had the privilege to smell, I've got a small decant of Oud for Greatness from that line that I think is just outstanding.
Yeah, Oud for Greatness is good, and it makes sense that you like that because it does have some similar materials to Baccarat Rouge, so that makes sense.
Because to be honest with you guys, all the ones that you two just rattled off are so far beyond my pay grade. To be honest.
Mine too.
Hey man, this is what I do. It's different, it's but you're right, and that was between all of us, that was a solid list, and we have a pretty broad list of where to start from, starting even from like Arrow, or if we wanted to talk about something like a Tommy, which back in the day was one of the ones that I wore. It's it works if you have the confidence and pick something that really works for you. That not everything's going to work.
Yeah, because I will have to say, for me, the one that because I'm a single dude, so if I'm gonna have somebody over, there's one that I really like. I'm a big fan of a gourmand. I think I told you guys I like a sweet scent. There is a new house. It's called Unique out of Turkey.
Yeah.
Sarah is the gentleman, one of the owners, and they make one that's called Chocolate Makes Me Happy that I'm a huge fan of, because it's another unisex fragrance. I like to smell it on a woman. I want to smell it on me. I like my sheets to smell like it. It just, to me, when I smell it, it just envelops that whole kind of sense of I want to be close to to whoever I want to be close to it. And I've never had somebody smell it and not like it. You know what I mean? I've
Fair
had
enough.
somebody say that it's really sweet. It might be too sweet for them, but they weren't repulsed by it, or it's because you can have a fragrance that you yourself really enjoys, but then somebody else smells it and it just doesn't check any boxes. Chocolate makes me happy is I've never had a bad response from it. Everybody smells it, and the first thing they say is like what you did, is it smells like something that they want to eat.
Right. And that's the time where you want to be eaten.
Yep.
Right. So with what makes me edible?
Yeah.
So Stanley, I'm going to rephrase the question a little bit for you, so it'll be a little easier for you to answer. If you're going to go out on a date, Stanley, what is the fragrance that you want to reach for?
So if it's a first date, I would probably go for YSL's La Nuit de l'Homme.
That's
Just
an outstanding pick.
simple, classic, safe first couple of dates fragrance. And then once I get to know her a little bit, I might go for either my Herod, or I'll go for a Tuscan Leather.
Now, see, Tuscan Leather is one of those ones where I have only met one female who liked it. Most females, because it comes across that's got that really bitter tanning, almost like a saddle leather to it.
But here's the thing. I will.
There.
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
I said, with Tuscan Leather, the leather note that's in that is a very, very harsh. It's got a bitter bite to it. Most females don't seem to there's no other way to put it. Most females don't care for it. That's a guy's fragrance.
So that's a little bit more of like woodsman. And the truth is that when we want to be like, people are attracted to sweet stuff, actually, usually. And a lot of times synthetics tend to go sweet. So when you blend a bunch of synthetics together, you get a super sweet smell. That's actually been a challenge for us. We also know a lot of perfumers that are really good at gourmands, and that comes off great. But Tuscan Leather is something that is a darker leather. It's a little more of an oudy kind of thing. I haven't worn it in a really long time. I have a little bit at the shop, and it is really good. And you're right, it's more of a burly man type of thing. It's more, that's what you're going for. And if you wanted more compliments, you gotta soften it, suede, or a sweeter leather, things like that.
So here's what I.
Yeah. Go ahead, Stanley.
So here's what I do with Tuscan Leather. I would actually layer it with By the Fireplace by Maison Martin Margiela. Like, that's what I would do to sort of cut through that bitterness, because I do know, I do get that little bit of bitterness in there. It's just, it's not as pronounced as the actual leather itself.
Yeah.
So
it comes across when I smell it. Like, I grew up on a horse ranch in Colorado, so when I smell Tuscan Leather, it's just, to me, it brings back walking into the tack room, because it smells like saddle leather.
And, fair enough.
If you like that one, a nice one that you'll probably enjoy is Godolphin by Parfums de Marly. Really has the same olfactory characteristics as Tuscan Leather, but not as expensive.
Here's the thing. I smelled Godolphin on my skin. It doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't work as well on me.
What does it do?
Or Louis Kouam. Did I say that right? By Rasasi.
I something like that, yeah.
I have that in my collection as well, and most people put them side by side, have a hard time, saying which is which. Louis Kouam is not a clone. It's his own stand-up fragrance, but their characteristics are very, very close, just like Godolphin and Tuscan Leather.
Yeah, I can do Tuscan Leather no problem. My skin will take it and make it smell beautiful. But with Godolphin, it's way over. I get a really bad powder from it. If you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a makeup bag type of powdery. It's like I just walked into an industrial factory dusty kind of powder that I get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yeah, that happens too. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
skin doesn't like it.
Right. Well, that
When I
happens.
get the itch for Tuscan leather vibe, I have a partial of an older frag. I think it's discontinued now by YSL. It's called Noble Leather.
Yes, I
It's
have smelled that.
similar. I think it's a little smoother, a little sweeter, which doesn't make it as bitter. It could be Tuscan leather blended in with something else, but I get that same leather vibe, and it's just smoother, easier to wear. And since I found that, I haven't worn Tuscan leather in God knows how long.
Yeah.
There's also a leather fragrance by Rado that's really, it's not, there's no fruity note in there, so it's just the pure leather. So Tuscan leather opens up, to me at least, there's a bit of a raspberry berry type note, and then it dries down, and then it comes down into the woodsy, the oody, and the leather type of notes. That's what I get from my nose. But with the Byredo, again, I can't remember what the name was. I get straight to the leather in the opening. I don't go through that little raspberry, and then I don't have those supporting notes. It's just the leather that's in there.
And see, it's funny that you bring up the whole fruity aspect because all of our noses are different. Like I hear people say, a great example, Stanley. You said that you get a boozy sense from Herod. Like
Yeah.
I only have ever smelt one fragrance that smelt boozy to me. My nose doesn't pick it up. Once again, the House of Unique, they have one that's called Kute, and it actually, on the top of that, smells exactly like a glass of whiskey. Like you
Oh,
ever
wow.
take a glass of whiskey and just before you sip it, you smell it?
Yep.
It has that exact note.
Okay.
And the fruity aspects of that fragrance whatsoever. I don't get it in Godolphin. I can't smell it in Tuscan leather. My nose misses that whole raspberry note completely. So it's amazing how each of us actually process our olfactory senses when our brain actually gets it, because there's so many people I hear say they get this from a fragrance, and if I smell it, I'm kind of like, well, I kind of understand, but I'm not getting the same sensations as what you're trying to relay to me.
Yeah, I tend to pick up on the fruity notes of a lot of different things. So, for example, in my job, I actually do a lot of coffee tastings. And with fruitier coffees, I like to use those for my coffee tastings because I get a lot of all the fruitiness, the citrusy notes of the coffee.
Uh-huh.
And like I just reviewed the Terre Hermes, the Eau Très Fraîche, on my channel today, and the main predominant note I get is actually the orange in there. So again, as you said, it's different noses, different, same fragrance, different experience.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I will say that I've stated it over and over, is that what smells good to me might not smell good to somebody else, and vice versa. There is something out here for everybody to enjoy. And then if we all like the same stuff, this would be one really boring hobby.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. There will be only one thing.
So, hey, Freddie, you see the comment that's up on the screen right now from Sinsense?
Yeah.
You want to give him an answer? Tell him what you think that one would be?
Good.
So I have to pick a fragrance for each of you guys.
Yeah, let's see.
The sent me thing, but the
Yeah,
three
the
people are
sent
on
me
the
thing.
screen. Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Great.
For Outlaw Frags, James, I would say off the top of my head, because I've recently purchased it, was Viva More by Navatus Parfums.
Yeah.
I think you'll like that one. You like Baccarat Rouge 540. You like woody fragrances with a little sweetness with it. I think you'll like that one. Near, I know he has a complex nose, so
Yeah, that's a tough one right there.
something
Oh, really?
something Udi. What's the name of that one by? I don't know. It's pretty hard.
Isn't it? That's a tough,
That's
tough
pretty.
question.
You have all these to pick from, all those.
If I can
right?
see,
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, I would say, I don't know. That's tough.
Maybe come back to
Yeah,
him. Do
let's
me
come
first
back.
and then him at
Do
last.
you? I don't know you that well, so it's hard for me to pick something for you. But you seem like a fairly young gentleman.
Like I said.
Assuming, are you still in college? Student, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I would say something crowd appealing, but from what a few that you mentioned, you do like things that are not as mainstream. So let me see. How about I'm trying to think what's in my collection or what I've tried recently to try to trigger my memory for something. But how about it's the Hugo Boss Oud something.
Yeah, boss bottle.
Oh, Boss Bottle
Yeah.
Oud.
There
Yeah.
we go.
And
Okay.
that's actually not a bad fragrance. There's no oud in it, or at least if there is, they kind of had a 55-gallon barrel, and then he stood back and spritzed it. Because there's no oud in that fragrance.
Maybe like a synthetic oud accord, but definitely no real oud in there.
Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, there is. That's why I said it was spritzed, because it's actually, when you go through and you read it, if you go to their website, it says that it actually has natural oud in it. I always
for real?
thought, yeah, that's why I said it was spritz, because natural oud is a super expensive raw
Gotcha.
material.
Yeah.
So to be able to
You froze, dude.
quantity of natural oud, otherwise they never be able to sell it for
You
less than
froze a little
$100
bit.
a bottle.
Right.
So Stanley,
Yo.
your turn, brother.
For Nira, I would say Zaharov Purim.
I like that one.
Just like
Yeah.
that complex, peppery, oudy. The frankincense in there, just it's really beautiful. For James, I would say Creed Viking. Just because I feel like you would like that little spiciness and something that stands out a little bit more in the crowd. Either that or Silver Mountain Water. For Freddie, I would say Chanel Coromandel.
I actually love that fragrance.
All right.
I'm like, I have a feeling you would be into that
Yeah.
kind of fragrances, considering the videos that I did watch.
Yeah, I love that fragrance
from back in the day. So I'm like, I think you might like it.
I think so too. It's one of my favorites.
Considering it was either between that or Guerlain's L'Homme Ideal for EDP.
Yeah, that one's
I like
good
that.
too, but
Yeah.
Coromandel is definitely the winner.
And then if I had to say for Freddie, I would say Initio, Rehab. For Near, I would say Creed, Royal Oud. And then for Stanley, you're the toughest one because you're a younger guy. Especially because you're hanging out with a bunch of older guys here. I think I'm the oldest. I'm 50.
I'm definitely the youngest.
Yeah, so
43.
I would say if I was gonna send you, I would say Dior Homme Sport 2017, the one
Fair
that
enough.
was the last reversion, not the new one where
Okay.
they took out the iris, but the one that still has the iris. You pulling
I
that off
need
really well.
I need to get that under my nose because I haven't smelled anything like Dior Homme. I haven't smelled anything from that line, so I can't really comment.
So, all right, since I hope that answers your question to the best of our abilities, because that was a tough one.
Near
I'm gonna
hasn't
go
gone
real
yet.
quick. All right, let me just run through this.
Oh right, crap. Hey,
Oh, yeah,
hold on.
yeah. Sorry, guys.
I'll be 30 seconds because I've been thinking about this the entire time. I'm like, give me my chance. James, I'm picturing you in Kalan from Parfum de Marly. That is right up your alley based on your reaction with Baccarat Rouge and the other things we talked about. Freddie, I think that you would like Cheeky Smile from Juicebox. I think that we've talked about a couple of things like that, and I snuck a peek to your Instagram, and I was like, Cheeky Smile is going to fit in here. I think we talked about feeling chill before, but I'm feeling more Cheeky Smile. And Stanley, I don't know very well, so this one was the hardest part. That's where like I'm turning around, like, what do I got back here? What are my options? And so I figured we talked a little bit about the leathers, and some work for you and some don't. Going with Marc Antoine Barrois Ganymede, which is a real rare gem. It is an aquatic, but also a little bit of suede. I think that would be a real rock star on your skin.
I'll see if I can find a little decant or some.
Funny story. I know a place that has them.
Yeah, matter of fact, you'll find this information in the description below after we post this.
I
Yeah.
think I'll make an order at said place.
Yeah, let's stay in touch. I'd like to make sure that you smell that and maybe some others. So
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely one of those things where you smell it and you're like, this is, why don't I have this already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little obsessed, but that's
like another reason why I got into fragrances was actually because I'm in marketing. So like I'm in school for marketing, and other than me looking presentable and having my appearance all together, as a wide person in my life said, you're not complete without a fragrance. A fragrance is essentially your invisible accessory. It really says who you are. So I feel like with the fragrances that I have in my collection right now, and even some of them are like a good chunk of my collection is decants. Like I have YSL Y EDP in a decant. I have a couple of Mont Blancs in a decant. Just stuff like that. And I'm still right now. I'm only like 3 or 4 months in, and I'm still trying to develop my nose into like what I like, what I don't like, stuff like that.
Yeah, and those samplers and decants and those vials are going to take you a long way, so that you know what people are talking about. I always recommend spray decants. The dabbers are terrible. And you know what? I changed my mind, James. You got to be wearing T-Rex every day, 10 sprays.
No,
T-Rex all day.
Victor sent me his whole line in his carded samples, and I did half of them in a review, and T-Rex was in there.
Yeah,
and to me, that is an acquired taste. To me, that falls into the category of a novel scent, just like a Secretions Manifest.
There we go.
That fragrance,
elephant in the house,
just like burnt, rotting flesh.
Gracious.
Yeah.
So I can definitely appreciate the work that Victor put into coming up with the fragrance. That's one of the ones where you hear guys say, well, I like it for the artistry. That is a complete 100% artistry fragrance, man.
It makes me so happy. I don't get it. It makes me so happy.
Does it
How
really?
do you not love it? Yes.
Oh, just can't do it, man. It made me choke. And, I'm always open to smell anything new. And then I kind of had an idea what I was in for before I even sprayed it to smell it. And it was everything that I don't want to put on my skin. I really, really appreciate that Victor sent me all that stuff. It meant the world to me. I like a lot of his other fragrances. Like B is really, really good. Chameleon. He's got a lot of really, really nice fragrances in his line. But T-Rex, man, like I said, I'm really happy I had the chance to experience the fragrance,
Mhm.
because that is an experience all in itself. But would I wear it? First of all, where would you wear it to? And then, you know,
If you were near, you wear it to bed.
I do it all the time. Like I wear it on, like
you know what that would
doing
be?
my thing.
That's a contraception right there. You know what I'm saying? You wear
I
that
mean-
to bed, you're gonna be by yourself.
Then again, a lot of people like smelling oud wood as a night fragrance, which I mean, if you're going on a date at night, then yes, but I wouldn't wear oud wood, for example, to bed.
I feel like Oud Wood's a different example, just because it's Tom Ford, and that like Tom Ford's still gonna get you some compliments because it's not like super
Like,
duper
A
oudy, even
Tom,
though it is.
yeah, a Tom
You
Ford
know,
is a Tom Ford is a Tom
right?
Ford. So,
Yeah,
like Rose Prick, I didn't like at all.
right. But Oud Wood like is probably one of my favorites
It's
out of the
it's
private
more
line.
it's more so it's not exactly your beginner oud. That
No.
would be like
No,
oud
it's not.
naturel or like one of like their more natural type oud, like they're more fresh oud, and
Mhm.
then oud would be like the next oud out. So you're not exactly in the beginners. You're one step above a beginner. That would be what oud would be for me.
Yeah, yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, for
What
sure.
about you, Freddie? What's your favorite oud fragrance?
I'm not big on oud.
Well, it should be a really short list. It wouldn't take you
Yeah,
long
I
to figure
mean,
that one out.
one that I've enjoyed for a long time, and it's going back to MFK, is the original oud. I know it's not the oudiest, but it's the one that I enjoy the most.
Mm.
That is probably my favorite oud. Oud, the Inicio's Oud for Greatness is nice as well.
Yes, I'm a big fan of that one.
By I said Rirana Parfums or Fragrances is called Spices Oud. That one, it's a gem in my opinion. Also, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't. Again, my list is not that long, but but there are a few that I do like, and most of them are very mild on the oud. I've never been a big fan of oud.
Of oud. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those notes that you either there's not a whole lot of middle ground. Either you like it or you don't. I've noticed when I talk to people about it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the note.
When it started becoming popular in fragrances years ago, I was in the stage where anything that was different, I loved, right? So it wasn't that I loved the note of oud. It was like, wow, this is so different. I want to try. I want it. I need it. Once I actually figured out what my preferences are and the notes that I realized, nah, it ain't for me. I don't care how different it is. It's just something that doesn't sit right with me. I mean, again, if it's blended correctly, it's not overly powerful. Then I don't like my scents to walk in the room before me. I like, I like to be noticed, but not from across the room.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
And to me, I don't want to be noticed with the oud as well. It's just it kind of depends on your taste, I guess, right? How we all look at it differently. But for me, that's not how I want to be remembered by.
Gotcha. What about you, Nir? Do you have a favorite oud?
So, two things. First, favorites are really tough for me, because it makes me pick like one, maybe two, and then oud, just like you guys, it's a challenging note. I really only wear it at work. I don't wear it at home. And when you guys are talking about it, I'm looking back there again, trying to figure out which ouds are the ones I like. And I like it more as a background note. So like it's part of the base. I don't like it really being the focus as much. And if it is, it tends to be a part of a leather note, something like that. But if I'm talking about something that I'm wearing more often as an oud, I'm going to mention two. Oud for Greatness, we've talked about a couple of times. I can't get away from it. It is a great. See, look at Mark over here telling Freddie to come back. Come on.
I'm feeling a lot of love in these comments, and
Yeah,
maybe
you should.
maybe I'll consider it now that I'm home full time.
Now that you've got
Maybe-
the time, right?
Okay, maybe don't come back like full force with like 5 videos a week or something.
Right.
Just do like one video a week.
If I was
One a week.
if I was to consider coming back, it'll probably be one video a week or so. I wouldn't come back as hard as I was doing before.
Yeah.
I don't have the content to do it anyway as I used to.
Like I'm doing 2 videos a week and I'm juggling school, but like and before the lockdown happened, work as well. So I mean, it was definitely stressful, but it's the good kind of stress.
It's a creative output.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Stanley,
yeah.
I know that you said that you're new into this game, that you're
Yeah.
about 4 months in. I mean, have you smelt some oud fragrances that you've seen that you've liked? Have you smelt Boss Bottle Oud? Which is,
No.
in my opinion, not an oud, but it's got oud in the name.
Yeah.
But is there something that you've experienced that you've smelt that you've liked?
There was one really heavily oud fragrance from Diptyque. I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. That one, when I was with my friend, he was saying it's like 80% of people hate it, 20% of people love it. I found myself to be in the 20%. Again, I cannot remember the name of the fragrance for the love of me. Oud for Greatness I've smelled and it's really beautiful. I want a bottle of it is what I'm trying to say. Honestly, those are the only 2 oud fragrances that I really love. That has oud as a main note. And then I've mentioned Zahara Per that's more of a supporting note for me.
Yeah.
So that's definitely another one that's in there. The oud by Le Labo, Oud 33. That was a no. I brought it semi close to my nose and I didn't spray it yet. It was just right from the atomizer and I was no, I don't like it. It's way too animalic for me.
Was a Diptyque Oud Palau or something like
I
that?
can't remember the name.
Robzo8 says he takes baths in oud oil, by the way.
That
believe
makes
him.
sense. That makes sense.
Mark, save that for your stream. That's a little TMI for the moment.
Bathe in
So,
the
for
glory.
me, I'm a big fan of oud. I like the Middle Eastern ouds. I don't like an oud that's really fecal, because I'm like you, Freddie. I don't want something that smells like a dirty diaper. But I've smelt so many, well, not so many. I've smelt enough of the stuff that's come out of the Middle East that if they do it right, you get a wonderful experience of smelling the oud without smelling dirty drawers. If you've ever smelt just the raw ingredient, which I had the wonderful opportunity when we were in New York at Sin Explorer, George in his display. Did you go in there? He had the 2 or 3 different types of raw oud that hadn't been processed. So
I was in there, but I have raw oud. I picked some up, but this. What do you think of rhinoceros? You mentioned Victor's or zoologist sending you that list because that's the other one. Like that the other favorite, if you will, and that's much more of a leather dark oud.
Yes.
How did that work for you?
That works really well for me. Like I said, I really enjoyed the note of oud. Like I really enjoyed Dior's, what is it, Oud Espinal? And I'm pretty sure I'm just butchered that name.
Oud Ispahan. Yeah, Chris
yes,
mentioned that in the comments. Yeah.
Really, really like that. And then if you can't afford that, because that's a super expensive fragrance as well, there's one on the market made by Banana Republic in their Icon series called Oud Mosaic. And I have both. And to be honest, man, you put them side by side, they are so close, they are almost indistinguishable.
Yeah, the
So
only
that-
difference between the two that I found was like the performance. One is a little more deeper or more pronounced than the other, but the scent profile itself is very similar.
Yeah. So I really enjoy that. That's something that I like wearing. You know, I think the whole deal, even with Victor's fragrance that we're talking about, to me, the key of wearing a oud fragrance is that you got to be sparing. Less is more.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
So for
and
me,
then go ahead, Stanley.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
And okay, and then I was gonna say, like, Freddie, you know how you don't want nobody to smell you before you get there. Dude, I'm the exact opposite. I'm a bouncer in a bar, so I'm a notorious oversprayer because I'm fighting smoke. I don't smoke. I can't stand the smell of it. So I always spray heavy, but I don't spray heavy when I wear an oud fragrance. Even if I'm at the bar, I don't spray heavy with the oud.
The thing with that comment is I noticed if you can fill up the room, it's hard to determine who smells that good, right? But if you have just the right amount of projection, once you walk by somebody, they know that's the guy that smells good.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the part of the art of wearing fragrances that I don't really have down yet. But then again, I've only been in the game for about 4 months, so I can't really say anything in general.
I think the best way I've heard somebody explain what we're talking about, you know, what's the right amount, is Roja Dove. He's got his channel, and in one of his videos, he's all, what's the right amount of fragrance to wear? And I think how he said it was elegant and straight to the point. Wear what makes you happy. You know, if it's 3 sprays and that's what makes you happy, that's what you should wear. If you're
Fair
me
enough.
and it's 10 sprays, then that's what makes me happy. There's no real set, you know, parameters of how much you should wear. It's what you feel gives you the, what would you say? My brain just shut off. It gives you the sense of how you want to be experienced by other people. You know what I'm saying? You know, I won't put. I'm a big fan of Terry Mugler. You know, or the original Amen. I love that fragrance, but that's one I will not overspray because you can spray 5 sprays of that on, and the people in the next state can smell you. You know, that's one of those fragrances you're talking about, Freddie. You know, and I really like that, but less is more when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And then circling back to the ouds, with oud, I now am finding little chips, like very small chips of oud, like the actual wood itself, and I actually tend to burn it just so it fills my room up while I'm changing and getting ready. So right when I'm ready, if I want to wear a little bit of oud that day, I will have that oud smoke on me, so it's like a smoky oud. That's what tends to work for me.
Yeah, that is a special way to do it. That is a very unique way to do it.
Like, it's very expensive per wear, but it's a very crowd pleasing way to wear it.
Yeah.
And it lasts for days.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Hey, here we go. Stumptown Smells says, Student Shaver, check out Oud Touch by Frank Oliver. And I will have to say that I have that and I enjoy it quite a bit. It's a really inexpensive fragrance. He has one.
I will have to check it out.
Oud vanilla as well, but it doesn't have any oud in it for me, and it smells really good. You might enjoy that one as well.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out. Robes, again, keep it to your your own stream.
he's a grower. He's gonna do what he can to grow.
Yeah. And
Robes
then I gotta say, thanks to Robs08 for jumping in. That's one of the old school guys that have been in the game forever.
Yep,
So
Mark is a good man.
Yes, he is. He has put out so much content over the last decade. It's amazing.
He's only 8 hours north of me, I think.
Yeah. Mark is definitely, he has his own take on every fragrance that he reviews. You know, so you know what you're going to get when you watch one of his videos.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we like.
Rob says, okay, I'll stop now.
In robes we trust. In robes we trust. Trust. Apparently, I can't English either. Okay.
So,
Well, guys, I appreciate you having me on, but I'm gonna have to step away.
not a problem, Freddie, man.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for taking the time, dude. I
Of course,
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you having me on. I'm honored to be on the panel with these guys here. Near, hopefully, once this is over, we'll come down and visit the store.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll
keep
find
in
time
touch.
for sure. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
for
Good to
sure.
be part
And
of this.
everybody that's watching in the comments, I appreciate all the support and love. Although I haven't been around, we'll see. Maybe I'll consider coming back.
You should really think
Please.
about it, man. I really enjoyed your content. I enjoyed your point of view when you went through and you actually broke down the fragrances, because it gave me an opportunity to kind of look at a fragrance that I can't afford, but look through it somebody else's eyes. And you were really good at doing that. So,
I
man, I
appreciate
hope you
that.
do come back.
I appreciate it. All right, guys. I'll talk
All
to you
right,
later.
brother. Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
You know, and with that being said, this has been a really good hour. It's amazing how fast that went, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to call it a night. An hour is quite a long time, even for all of us to sit here. We all have things that we need to do and responsibilities. Mayor, once again, man, thank you so very much for taking the time to come here and sit down and talk with us. It meant the world to me. I know that everybody that watches this will appreciate your input. And do me a favor, all those videos you have on your phone, man, upload those.
Throw them up there. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
do it.
because
Yeah,
you
just
know,
do it. Well, James,
perfection is something that we all strive for that we never obtain. So sometimes done is good enough.
Yep.
You know?
at some point, I'm
Hey.
just going to have to accept that I said the word spectacular a little too many times, right?
I mean,
But James,
I
thank you
don't
very
edit
much.
my videos at all. Like, I put my videos up raw.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what it is that I watch you guys. I'll watch Mark. I'll watch Joshua. You know, I see these really well polished videos, and then I'll look at mine and be like, I know that this is on my phone, but whatever, right? Like, I need to be more like you guys, and you know, I need to follow your lead. And James, thank you very much for holding me to host this conversation. I think this is really good. It's an eye-opening conversation, even for me, to figure out what you guys like, what is unreachable, what you guys don't know, and what you love more than anything. So thank you so much for hosting.
You're welcome. Hey, and just to tell you, man, with the phones that are out today, it takes such incredible video that you don't have to put together a studio like what I have in the house.
Right.
The phone
Yeah.
that you have, the video across that takes such good video.
Yeah.
The only thing that you're missing is just like I do really heavy editing. I do post-production, pre-production. So, you know, that will come in time if that's something that you enjoy doing, because that's a whole nother can of worms to open up.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah, I
right
actually
now-
want to learn. I actually want to learn video editing, and I'm like, now that I actually have the time, because what's going on, I can take literally, I strap this to this and dangle it off the lid of my laptop. That's
Yeah.
how I film my fragrance videos.
Sounds a lot like me. It sounds like my setup here. Usually I'm at the store, but now we're here.
I mean, it doesn't take as a lot of people can agree with me. I'm pretty sure Robe started with just a phone on a tripod, or just a little something on a tripod, and that's how he went away with it.
everybody starts somewhere. The
Yeah.
biggest deal is, you've already started it. You just need to take the next step and just upload them.
Well,
I mean, you're a very well-known figure in the community. Everybody looks up to you. You've got an amazing store. And not only that, your fragrance line, Perfumology, is one that I really, really enjoy. I still have one more that I need to save some change so I can buy, and that's it starts with an L.
Lema.
Yes.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I wore Bliss yesterday and enjoyed it all day. That absolutely has incredible longevity. I put it on in the morning. When I got in bed, I could still smell the florals.
That's amazing.
It was wonderful. It was a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And
I'll
for
have to check
saying
your fragrances out as well.
Yeah. Reach out to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Tonight, just by the way,
Yeah.
I'm wearing the new formula for Bat.
Bat.
Nice.
The 2020 formula is. I'm one of a few people to have this, and this is a really solid leather. It's a fruity, open, floral heart. Not even that floral. It's more like a mineral hay. I think I really wanted to share this mostly because we were talking about all kinds of things, and I had that set up. I was so excited to share. Like, look at what I'm wearing today. I'm so happy.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nerd, I've been trying to talk to Victor to get him to come on to the show. What I'd like to do is when I get Victor to come on, if you would come on again that night, I'd love to have both of you guys there.
Look, if you get Victor on the show and you invite me, I'm there. Like, pick your time, like whatever. I'll be there. He's a really great person to chat with. He's pretty easy. Oh, look, he's got Clutch.
Oh,
Yes,
look.
that is
Wild
Making
Dinsey
Sense is in
comes
the
on.
house. That is
Hey,
a
Dinsey, how you
wonderful
doing?
fragrance as well. Yeah, because what I'd like to try to do is one of the Friday night shows is like I'm really good friends with George. Try to find it, 4 other people that are actually involved, like you are, and George is, and Victor. So it'd give people an idea of what it's like to be on the other side of the fragrance industry. We're all consumers, and you guys are producers.
And I'm a glutton.
Creators. So it'd be really interesting, I think, for people to get a sense of what it's like to look through the glass from the other side. You know what I'm saying?
I'd be very curious to hear about what other people see on their side of the glass, because I think that this is a really interesting industry, and everybody has a very different perspective. And whether it's an artisan or a perfumer or a indie brand owner, there's a lot of different perspectives here. So it's I'd be very curious to see how that plays out. It's always fun to watch that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my biggest thing is someday I want to be able to get Francis Kirkshaw on this, as he being one of my favorite perfumers. But we all have dreams, and I don't have any contact with him, so I have no idea how to get him on.
If it helps, me neither.
Hey, as a compliment, that sits right next to this.
Yes.
We were talking about it.
No, I mean,
so near this is my buddy.
Thank you.
Sense. Making Sense. This is Near Guy, the owner of Perfumology up in New Jersey, right? Is where your store is at?
No, I'm in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Out of the river.
Yeah, because you're in the same city as my daughter now that I think about it, which we've talked about in the past.
So sorry it took me so long to jump on here.
You're fired.
Yeah, I was doing homework with the kids a little bit, and my daughter was helping me package some stuff up. And she was reading about perfumology while we were packaging stuff up. So that's the only reason why I know exactly where it is. She's like, "It's not in Boston, Dad." I'm like,
it's the other historic city along the coast, right?
That's it. You get the bell.
Yeah.
With the best cheesesteaks.
We have real cheesesteaks. Nobody else does.
I'm vegetarian, so I'll take a pass.
So your cheese sandwiches are the best.
We're busy man near, so if you need to go, you can if you would like, but I'd like you to stay for the next hour. Well, no, we've got how much time there?
40 minutes?
40 minutes. It's amazing how fast time goes by when you're in a good conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty quick.
Yes. So what's your sin of the day there, Making Sense?
It actually, not even intentional, was Clutch tonight.
Was it?
How funny is that? Only for the fact that, I'll be honest, I had it on my counter when I came home, and I sprayed it, and then you texted me telling me who was coming on, and I started laughing. That was just
amazing.
Yeah.
I love
there's no reason.
It's amazing.
That's pretty funny. Earlier today, it was Hajivat by Nishane. Yeah. I tried to see if I liked it or not. I won't tell you yet if I did. I need more time.
You need more time?
We need to watch that show.
Yeah, right? The video, the opening is amazing, and I did a first impression, but I need to give it a lot more wearings. I did just spray this 6 times, by the way. That's a lot.
6 times.
Yeah, I'll wear that about 6 or 7 sprays as well. I really like this kind of darker, sweet essence of that fragrance is really, really nice. I will say that it's not so dark that I couldn't wear it in the spring or on a cool summer evening. Because I know, Near, you said that that's more of a winter fragrance. But for me, I can pull that one off all year round, really.
So honestly, yes, do what you want. right?
Yeah.
Like that's the you mentioned Raja. My thing is a little more Philly. It's like do whatever you want, and it's just kind of what I like. I set out to make things that I wanted to smell. I see a question here. Did your perfumer make any other scents for other houses? I'll tell you, he does a lot of fragrance things. He's very good at flavoring, but you're not going to really see a whole lot of his name out there. He's a friend of mine, and we were talking about it, and we were. I was just like, why? I asked him, like, do you want me to say you are the perfumer? Do I want to release it? Do I want to pretend like I'm the perfumer? And that was a really quick, like, I didn't even finish the sentence. I was like, no, because I'm not a perfumer. I can't have that conversation, or I don't want it to misrepresent myself. So we had a lot of conversations about who he works for, and most of the time he won't even tell me because it's a secret. And he's done other work before. A lot of the time he does things, most of his time, like the people at Givaudan or Firmenich or stuff like that, they're making industrial smells. So stuff to make, for example, like cleaning supplies and things like that. That's most of the bills are paid doing that. It's pretty interesting. Pierre Montal. No, nothing like Pierre Montal. I'm a little more straightforward than that. Um, I like to be very open and conversational about it. And so Justin is a real brilliant guy, and I love working with him. He does a lot of really good stuff. He has a
And I
hemp
gotta
farm.
say, the 3 out of the 4 that you have, I have enjoyed immensely. You know.
Thank you. Yeah, seriously, like that's the biggest compliment that I could get, is that you guys actually enjoy wearing it.
Yeah.
Because that's the purpose. There's a lot of like, how many compliments did you get today? Well, especially lately, but I think that Mark, I got it. No big deal. I was trying to make a joke back, but it probably came off a little harsh. I like making perfumes that I enjoy, the people around me enjoy. Um, sorry. And I'm watching what Mark is saying here, but I really just I do this for fun, right? It's a business. It's a very fun business, and this is a great conversation, Friday night, and we can have a good time with it. That's what I love about this industry, is that it's put smiles on people's faces. And like we said about an hour ago, what are you wearing to get intimate, if that's the choice, or what are you doing just to make yourself happy? Like, this stuff
Yeah.
has a purpose.
Well, that, and I can imagine with you having your shop, you get to enjoy the interaction, because when somebody walks into your shop, they're there because they like the same things you like. You don't walk into a fragrance shop because you don't like them. So you immediately have that common ground with some.
You would be really surprised. I get people walk in, and they don't like perfumes, which is weird. That happens every once in a while. We get a lot of people who don't know fragrances that well. So to come into our store, of all places, without really knowing it, I kind of test them out first. I'm like, welcome to our shop. Have a good time, smell around, and then I give them a second. If they look lost or excited, it
Yeah.
depends on where I take that conversation. If they look lost, I'm like, why don't you tell me a bit about what you like? Let's follow the path, and you're going to guide me. The people get excited, totally lead the way, like freight train, know what they're doing, and that's a lot of fun. People who don't know is a lot of fun, because they get more and more excited as they develop their own interests, and within 20 minutes we know if they're really interested, or just like, oh, it smells nice, and like, I'll see you later. And
Yeah, it's just like me
good time.
with coffee. I do the same thing with when people come in and they're like, "Hey, I usually get this, and I want to switch it up a little bit." And
Mhm.
because my store has, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I work at Starbucks, so
Yeah.
we have our regular core lineup, and then we have our reserve lineup. At my location, I am fortunate enough to actually have the reserve lineup at my store, so I get to sort of see what their flavor profiles, like what flavor profiles they like, what coffees they like, so I can suggest a similar coffee, or if they want the same coffee but maybe just change up the brewing method a little bit, I can suggest a different brewing method to them, and just little things like that where I can sort of hone in and get the customer excited for the experience that they're gonna get. So, and it's the same thing in a lot of sales type industries.
Yeah.
I will
That's
say I wish one of my dream jobs is to work in a store like what you have here.
Yeah.
You know, most people when they look at me would never figure, think that like I can go into the Dillards here and talk to the girls, the essays, and they're like, "How do you know all this?" Because you don't look like somebody that would walk around and be, a rather large informational kind of, plethora of grave matter up there. But man, if I could have a job where I could just work in a fragrance shop and be able to, like you said, steer somebody towards something that they would enjoy, or somebody that already has that sense of, like, if I walked in, I would know what I'm looking for. To be able to
Right.
have that interaction on a daily basis, I think would be fulfilling for myself and enjoyable.
It's a real blast, and it's a pleasure. Both the whole variety. It is retail, and people who really want to be there. Like we've had people fly out to our store, and we've had Woody. I'll come back to that in a second. And great avatar, but we've had people really trek out to see us, and it's an honor to talk to people about what they like, and share with them things that they've always wanted to smell. Woody, as far as a fifth fragrance, I will tell you, I have more than a fifth on the way, and we actually halted a major project that's more than one fragrance, but Justin and I have at least a fifth fragrance. We have something rolling through for fall. There's a project I think I mentioned to James when we saw each other at Senate Explorer 2. These are things. I'm not stopping. We're still all ahead full, just a little slower.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I don't think none of this is going to stop. Everything has just been kind of, like you said, it's just been put on hold a little bit. And we're going to see eventually everything will come back. It's going to take a minute, but everything will come back. As long as we stay strong and work together as a community, things will be just fine. Now, you can still order from your store online, correct, Nair?
Absolutely. People have been very supportive online, and I'm very, very thankful for that. They're great orders. I give them a little more samples, and I really, I try and pay attention to what they ordered and what they ordered in the past. That's what we do. That's how we put together a better package, and it's just me. I put on a face, gloves, put the packages together, and walk it over to UPS. And if it's in the city, sometimes I'll drop it off. I've driven a few packages around Philly.
Oh, that can be tough, huh?
It is no. I mean, like it would be. I think that a part of me is excited to see my customers.
And that works.
Because you have a pretty solid base of the same guys that you'll see over and over, don't you?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I know if I lived in your town, I'd be in your store all the time. So there's got to be dudes just like me that live there.
There are, and thankfully they do well for themselves, which means that I see them. And some people, they almost apologize. I'm like, no, I don't care that you're coming in to buy 2 samples. I'm happy to see you, right? Like, so what if it's $16 and the other guy just spent $1,000? Like, I'm really happy to see the people who come into the shop to have fun, and it's not, do your thing at your own pace. The same thing with YouTube. Other than me, I need to actually do it, but it's just go at your own pace. and whether it's a sample or decants or splits or full bottles, and all your things match up and everything's lined and you have a routine, right? It only matters as long as you're happy doing it. And if as long as the fragrance that you put on gives you a smile, even if you don't like the fragrance and you're still like, oh God, T-Rex, why did I spray 12 sprays of T-Rex again? Maybe that one a little bit less the next time, but ultimately it's about having a good time. That's what this industry is all about. And if I can help, and I'm really happy to do it. So yeah, it's a little tough to drive them around, or it's a little tough to do this, but it's a blast. Like, what am I complaining about, right? Still, people
Yeah,
are ordering
you're
online.
really lucky. You're in a position where you get to do what you love every day.
Yeah. Not everything I do is what I love to maintain a business, but it is really good.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's called work, not fun.
Well,
Yeah.
I ran a custom motorcycle shop in California for 15 years, so I was really fortunate to do and be around things that I love. But there's aspects of every job that none of us care for.
Yeah. Yep.
So making sense, man. You know what I got to put my nose on this week?
What's that?
That's the YSL Fresh, the one that you showed me.
YSL Fresh.
Yeah, and I am really impressed with that. A lot of people say don't like it. To me, smells outstanding for a hot weather fragrance.
Summer banger.
I really like it.
Absolute summer banger.
Yeah. Have you had a chance? I know that you don't have a lot of designers around you near, but have you experienced any of the line from Y? That's the first one out of the line I've smelled.
So you'd be
and
really
I was impressed
surprised.
with it.
Up until about 2 years ago, I knew pretty much all the name brands fragrances that were out, more or less. That's because that's what I was selling. I had a kiosk, I had a broom closet, I had a store, I had another store, but not since about 2 years ago. So I noticed that I think Chris Cretus said that he wore it today. And I haven't had the chance to smell this particular one, but I know that I need to, because a lot of people are saying how good it is, just like making sense. So I do want to get my nose to it.
Yeah, it's really close. It's in the same vein as this right here.
So that one I've had.
Yeah. Actually, and this is going to sound terrible, but I actually like it a little more than my coveted Dior. It really has a wonderful opening. It's really fresh. It's got a little fruity nuance to it. It's really an outstanding hot weather fragrance.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's awesome. I keep tinkering with my sound. Can you guys hear me? I can't hear me.
We hear you great.
Yeah, you're good.
You sound fine, brother.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, you guys sound clear as can be. I just, for some reason, there's no audio of myself talking coming through, and normally there is, but that's fine. Yep.
Thanks, Sam, for stopping by. I appreciate it greatly, man.
Thank you so much, dude.
Sam. So now I was listening to all you guys talk, so it was pretty cool. I was listening to the whole thing. I wasn't able to type because we were doing the other stuff, but all in all, very interesting first hour. Definitely entertaining. Near, it was cool to hear how excited you were to share your picks for everybody. It's like, wait, me.
It took me so long. Like, I'm trying to figure it out as we're talking about it. I was like, I don't know what to do, because these guys didn't know what to do. So I finally figured it out. We've moved on by then.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I'm like, he's like, all right, so we're going to. He's like, wait a minute, hold on. I've been focused. I didn't even lose this train of thought. I was like, that was pretty exciting. And I couldn't see it. I was just listening because I was doing the other stuff, but it was fun to listen to.
Thank you.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No. Please carry on with your thought.
I was just going to say the reason. So I'll tell you the reason why this sits where it was on the shelf behind me here, next to the MFK frags, is because when I go to reach, and now this I will put it as a big compliment too. When I decide which one of these two frags I'm going to reach for, it's not Baccarat Rouge 540. That's to me by itself because it's one of my favorites. But that sits right next to this one I'm going to show you, and I either reach for this one or Clutch, and it's Grand Soir. Okay. So for you to say a winter frag or a fall winter type frag, that's a great resemblance right there, because that's what this is. they sit on the shelf side by side to decide which one of the two I want to grab.
That's
that's
very kind
huge.
of you.
Yeah,
It is huge.
There's more of yours missing. So
Aha. So I'm doing better.
You're winning.
Yeah, and not only
Awesome.
that, man, your fragrances being an indie are still financially obtainable by most people at their price point.
Right.
You know, it's not like the Grand Soir. How much is the retailer for that bottle you had in your hand? As he sneaks down, because his wife will
Probably
find out.
$300.
$17.99, hun.
Yeah.
This is on Outlaw's channel. We're good.
Yeah.
I want to say it's
Bloody
probably
hell.
like 200 and something bucks. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
180 if you
remember.
get lucky. If you get someone that's selling one at super cheap or something. But I mean, they're expensive.
Yeah. So
Right.
nearest product is priced where most people won't be like, you're gonna want to pay how much for a bottle of Smell Good? You know?
Yeah.
You're crazy. It's to where it's not unpalatable to buy your fragrances at full retail.
Yeah, and they still have
Yeah.
that. They're fully niche too because they don't have that alcohol smell. If that makes sense to anybody.
Yeah.
Like when they
In the
spray,
very
they just
opening.
yeah, they don't have that. I don't know. I call it the synthetic opening smell. And now synthetics are fine. All the stuff you mix into them. I tinker with all the different fragrance stuff we talked about a couple of times. So like before we were doing this, I was smelling Isoi Super. I was smelling a couple separate things just for fun to see what they smell like to me in my head. And what's cool about like this one here, or even like the MFKs and any of the really like the really well known or light fragrances, you don't get that blast of either perfumers alcohol or whatever that is. It comes out first with a nice clean opening.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a big thing because when I spray it and it smells like, and I don't want to say synthetic mask, but when I spray something and I can just smell chemicals instead of a mixture,
Right.
it's like a little kid smashing on a keyboard.
Right.
It doesn't work for me.
Fair enough.
It's like all loud. Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
some of them,
it just comes from a really well blend and good raw ingredients, really.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think it's
'Cause the
that.
stuff that I've experienced that open up with a really heavy sense of alcohol's perfumery is really on the lower end. I don't think I've got anything in my collection that was a little bit pricey that really kind of kicks me in the face like that. You know?
Yeah,
I've got
there's a lot to that. And I listened to Justin as well. That's a good fragrance from Chanel.
yeah,
Yes,
but
it
it
is.
smells like alcohol in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's Chanel's Allure line tends to be a little alcoholic, not in the other sense, but in like as like you'll get the alcohol smell as it comes out.
Mhm.
It takes a couple minutes for after that alcohol to just evaporate. That's when you really get the like the true fragrance. Well, again, going back to Chanel, another one of my personal favorites is actually Platinum Egoist.
That's a great.
I've smelled that on me. Last time I smelled it, it was actually at a mall in Toronto here. The SA actually sprayed it on my neck as sort of like so I can be like my scent of the day kind of thing. But
It was after they put it on your neck, buddy.
pretty
yeah,
much,
that's not something I do in my shop. I'm like, that's assault.
yes. But again, it only lasted about 4-ish hours on me. Now, mind you, I've already been up for 8-10 hours at that point, so it was closer to the end of my day. So I wasn't expecting it to stay on for a long time, considering the body grime just from every day that I had and stuff like that. So I wasn't exactly expecting it to be like a long-lasting fragrance on me that day.
Nice. Nair, what did you say? You were about to say something about Justin. Is it the way he mixes it? Is that what you were about to say?
Well, I mean, I trust him. I listen to him, and then he also trusts me. And everything that we do, we take a long time. Also, we work with a second or third opinion between the two of us. We have a nose. Her name is Ida Meister. You might see her on Facebook sometimes. And she has an excellent nose, and I just kind of ask her to help us balance things out. In the end, I give Justin a ton of examples of like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then listen to none of it and start from scratch, right? And you know, it's usually when we make a perfume, it's a lot of us cracking jokes It's a cool box, right?
It really is.
Yeah, I gotta say that it's the most unique packaging I think that is on the market.
Thank you.
You know?
Yeah. I don't keep most boxes behind me. Most of them, and I didn't put, again, I literally just jumped on the computer. I didn't grab this on purpose for any special reason, to be honest. It's just behind me, but I
It
like the
says a
box.
lot.
Yeah, it
I
just,
see how much there is.
it's cool. Yeah,
Like-
exactly. Yeah, there's no other boxes other than, like, okay, so if there's a box over here, it's this guy because it's discontinued.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
That's
yeah.
here. The other boxes are in containers over there in case anyone ever was looking for a box and I have one. I just shipped them to them. Kind of cool.
You're
So-
making me feel real good. Thank you.
And there, what was
I would
the
say if it
point,
was
or
bad, though,
what was
too.
the situation that made you decide that you wanted to come out with your own perfume line?
There was a whole lot to it. I think that when I
Zero.
started working in fragrances, I was like, I need to have my own. It was like not even like I started managing a store, and I was like, I need mine. I need to do it myself. So I started. I honestly wasted a ton of money buying a bunch of materials, not knowing what I was doing. And I pretty much, you could say, destroyed all of it because I didn't have any idea anything at all. So I just mixed a bunch of stuff, and I was like, why does this smell awful? And it took me doing tons of research and eventually realizing that I would not be happy being a perfumer, but be happy working with one. That changed everything, and it made it much more enjoyable. I got to know a ton of materials really well. I got to know a bunch of chords, but I was not really as pleased. That's also partially because I'm one of those people who I tend to like other people's work more than my own. So like I was really proud of what we created with Lit. This was a love letter to my wife. You might be able to hear her talking from time to time upstairs to my dogs, but it's really like I wanted fun, so fun and fruity. I wanted bold, so we went with a Bulgarian rose. I wanted down to earth, so we did orris root and patchouli. And there's obviously more to it, and each fragrance follows that path. Grange was probably the easiest to do because I just kind of told a story to Justin. I was like, I want citrus aquatic, and he came up with something really quick, and I had very little to say about it. Clutch was tough. The clutch was really tough, and Leima took us 4 years. So that one was really, really hard. Yeah, because I was looking for a very specific series of notes, and they've been done a lot. So it either ended up being too floral, or it was like too much of one thing, or too familiar. So it didn't work. But the real thing is with Justin is that we are really good. We've become very good at listening to each other and asking for. Also, we're willing to ask for other people's opinions. So when you come to my shop, and if you came to my shop in the last couple of months, you're like, yeah, I probably snuck something under your nose. That's another thing that I get to do at my store. It's another fortunate thing I get. Actually,
now, do you guys have? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, say it.
I was gonna say, do you have a favorite note? I think
No.
OutLaw frags is iris.
Yes, it is. I'm an Iris fanboy.
Stanley, do you have one?
I'm actually tied between like 3. I would say tobacco, citrus, and I want to say oud.
Okay.
Like a fresh oud is more like I'm not gonna say like animalic oud, but like a nice fresh oud natural kind of, or
A lighter oud.
yeah, a lighter fresh oud, like an oud mineral. Sorry, that was the one I was thinking of. Like or even just like a light, not like completely oud 33 by Le Lobo kind of animalic, but like animal enough where there's a little bit of like you can get the animalicity, if that's even a word, but not really be repulsed by it.
Right.
Nice. Actually, the 3 components you said, would make a really nice perfume.
I agree.
Yeah.
You'd have
I
a
mean-
nice
Really
bright
agree.
opening. You
I
go to
mean,
a
if
nice
Nir
warm
wants
mid
to make me
and
a
nice oud
custom perfume, then
base to carry it.
We maybe one day. I think that there's a perfume coming out from a major brand that you'd really like. I'm not gonna say. I'll say it.
that we can chat about it offline.
I'll say. I'll say it's for happiness.
Nice.
I think that's quite literally in the title. That light oud. I think I want to see more of because I agree with you because it's a tough note. We don't necessarily have the environment for it. I think that we need something a little lighter, and there's a handful of examples of that.
Like oud mineral, as
Exactly.
I was trying to think
Exactly.
the whole stream.
I don't
And
think
I
I've tried
exactly
Oud
right.
Mineral.
just
And I
remembered
think
it now.
for our Western society, most heavy oud fragrances are a cultural thing. It's a Middle
Yeah.
Eastern cultural thing because they come from a very hot climate and then they still wear an amazing amount of oud, which here in the West we would turn our noses up because it's just not ingrained in our culture like it is
Right.
theirs.
We're not
This is
accustomed to it.
Yeah.
Oud Vert Intense
Yeah.
from Fragrance Du Bois. This one here is not dirty at all.
Right.
It's shiny,
pretty
bright.
smooth.
It's really, it's like this is a
it's-
fresh oud, as close as you can get.
Here's the thing. Oud, Fragrance Du Bois is way out of my pay grade.
Me too. That's why it's not sprayed at all. See, that's not even one. That's for me. When I wear it here, it's like 3 sprays ever.
Fair enough. If I remember correctly, Zaharoff actually ended up getting his oud from South China, if I remember correctly.
No, it's coming from
Unless
Laos.
Laos.
I think.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't okay? Because I thought he ended up getting it from South China. Because I remember seeing it in the documentary that he put together, the second part.
Yeah, no, he's actually from Laos is where it's coming from.
Okay.
And then there's guys that are oud fanatics that can tell you just by smell where it came from, which I can't, even though I enjoy it. There's no way that I know that my nose could differentiate oud from where it geographically comes from. You know,
Right.
Oud all comes from bottles.
Fair.
yeah, my oud comes from bottles too.
That's all I got.
Oh, well then.
Stanley, you
yes.
said you burn oud?
Yes.
Right.
I heard that has huge benefits for your health.
Yes. It's I haven't looked into that, and I'm disclaimer. I am by no means a health expert or anything, but
I'm leaving.
honestly, I just burn it because it makes me happy.
Well, that's good. That's why we use fragrances, right?
Yes, that's also
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I've heard
That's
really
such
good
a
things
perfect
about that.
response.
And
It is.
the thing what I like about Chinese ouds is that it's not like it'll be animalic, but it won't be the kind of animalic where it's also repulsive.
Yeah.
It's still I wouldn't say mass appealing, but what's the word I'm trying to look for? Anywho, it's like I'm not Englishing. It's almost 10 o'clock. I can't English anymore.
Well, I think what you're looking for is the way that the actual note is used in the composition.
Yeah, like the way that
I've smelled it, the way that it's built, the way that they use the note, and the quantity that they use the note in the fragrance really kind of steps back and forth from that fecal note to the note that I enjoy.
Yeah, like the way that oud as a smoke comes out, it's sweet yet savory yet smoky yet woody yet everything just I just love it.
So it's not pungent. So it's not
no,
rough.
it's not pungent at all.
Right. So it's kind of like so people talk about By the Fireplace from Maison Margiela, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that you smell, or everybody that smells that, has their own version of what memory it brings back, which is one of the best parts about that fragrance, in my opinion. So for me, I smell the old campground fire or a fire pit that we were blowing out, but I always smell burnt marshmallows. It's not
Yes.
just perfectly cooked marshmallows. It is burnt marshmallows, which
No,
I loved
burning
as
marshmallows.
a kid. Yeah, burning.
Burning
you
marshmallows.
you
Like
blew the thing
on
off.
fire kind of a burning. Not
Yeah,
even like
full
a
on fire. That's what I get from that. So what's cool with that though is that remnant from the fireplace or the fire pit that's on people's clothing when they walk away is an amazing scent by itself, which is kind of what you're describing you get from the oud when you burn it and are in the same vicinity.
Which is actually like that's the reason why I pair it with Tuscan leather. The leather works really well with the smokiness and the again they complement each other really well.
So, Near, when are you coming out with Bright Tobacco Oud? That's going to be the new frag?
There we go.
Bright tobacco oud.
Yeah.
Inspired by Student Shaver.
It could take a little while.
4 years is enough. That's fine.
4 years is all we need, right? That's all it is.
I mean,
That's awesome.
I would love to help develop that scent if you would allow me to. Again, we can talk about that offline.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people, if you want to start a brand, there's a lot of people who can help you do that.
Yes.
I am at this moment not one of those people. At this second, I like to help people develop their brands, and I'm willing to help you kind of streamline your own thoughts. That's where I'm at right now. But I noticed I need to do a handful of things first before I get into that.
Fair enough.
And mostly it's not really, it's just, I'm here to sell what's already been made. That's my role.
Yes.
Fair enough.
But if you need help with that, if you reach that point, I can help you. I can help you map it out.
That was nice.
Right. At
I
least
think
know that there is a map.
And once again, I want everybody, if you are in the need of any niche or indie perfumery, please take the time and go check out Near's store, his webpage. If you need to get a sample, Near's a great guy to get samples from. I can say that out of my own experience. I've never had a bad experience dealing with Near's company, Perfumology. It's always been top-notch customer service, and everything has been a wonderful, wonderful thing that I've had the privilege to buy stuff from your store. And
Thank
with
you
that
very
being
much.
said, there is no bad time to smell good. There we go. And we are at our 2-hour mark. It's amazing how fast that went.
Yeah, that was quick.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. Well, when you sit down and you talk about something that you enjoy and you're around good people, time goes by really, really quick. So with that being said, gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. I hope to see you guys back on the channel once again. There, I'm going to put together a panel with you. I'm going to make Victor come on the channel. I'll get George to show up. George is a great friend of mine. I know
He's
that
a
he
good
will
guy.
participate. And then I will find one more so that we have a total of 5 people like we talked about, and I will put that show together. I think people would really enjoy to see that part of the industry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So with that being said, gentlemen, I'm going to close this out. Once again, thank you for your time. I know we all, even though we're locked up, we all have lives. So your time is precious, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on, James. Had a lot of fun, learned a lot, and yeah.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Stanley, man. I know that you're new, and I'm here to try to support everybody just like the rest of the community.
Still trying to work out my quality, but it'll be baby steps before that happens.
That's right.
Awesome guy, Stan. Keep up the good work, bud.
All right, gentlemen. Till next time, once more, thank you. And thanks to everybody that's been here and watched us enjoy our conversation. Till next time.
Everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.
Take care.
Yes, in broadcast.